this, with all the crazy crap going on in the world right now, this is the most important topic out there. And people will be like, what? Flat Earth? It's ridiculous. What difference does it make? It makes all the difference. Right now, they want us to believe that we live on a spinning ball, flying through an infinite vacuum, that we're an insignificant speck. Okay. With trillions of others of specks out there, that we randomly happened after a whole bunch of mutated fish grew legs and turned into monkeys and turned into humans. And that we are literally on this prison planet. The planet is a prison because there's nothing else to discover. We're here, right? When the truth of the matter is, we are at the center of creation. We are powerful spiritual beings here that nobody has dominion over us, and that there's nothing to be afraid of, and that our minds create our reality. They don't want us knowing any of this. They don't want us knowing the power of the many outweighs the power of the few, because then they would be finished. So does this, what the shape of the planet? I don't care what shape it is. It's the lie that matters. So earlier than that, you probably had a mobile of planets hanging over your crib.
Yeah.
And then Sesame Street has astronauts on it, Werner von Braun, and rockets, and it's all globe programming before you can even talk. Then you go to school and your teacher has a globe in the front, and they give you worksheets on the moon and the earth and the sizes. And that's like the first thing you're learning. I looked into the globe and wow, that doesn't make sense. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, moving sideways at 1.2 million miles per hour. All of these motions, which is taking us, billions of miles a year. And somehow when you go out at night, all of the stars reset to the exact same position they were the year before. Are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
Yes.
So Georgia Guidestones, besides having the 10 commandments of the New World Order on them, they have a little hole right here. It's a long, thin hole. And when you look through this hole, you have to remember, we're spinning, twirling, whirling, and moving in 4 directions at once. But when you look through that hole, what you see is the North Star. Always. It's been up for over 10 decades. You do a time lapse, all the stars will circle around. The North Star is there. We're moving in all of these directions at once. How the heck is the North Star staying exactly in that hole? That was over 40 years ago this was built.
Right.
Okay. This thing cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they didn't build it to work for a little while. Supposedly, the science will tell you that, because of the wobble of the earth, that our North Star is changing over 40,000 years. Well, it would move. It would move a half a degree. It would be out of this hole. Okay. It's still there. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt, unarguably, that we're not moving, that everything we see in the sky is circling above us. And people started sending me messages, hey, have you looked into the flat earth? And I thought it was a joke. Then they kept sending them, and I would ban them from our social media for being so stupid. I would refuse to click on a single link, like, hey, watch this 2-minute video. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing ever. I don't have time for that. And I would just delete and ban them. So I started looking, and one of the things that NASA says is that the oceans bulge at the equator 14 miles high because of the spin, the centrifugal force. The water bulges out. Well, that makes sense. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. But 14 miles high is taller than Everest, right? An airplane only flies at like 5,000 feet, or 5 miles high. Okay, not 5,000 feet. And so if you're flying to the southern hemisphere, at what point do you triple your height just to skim over a hump of water? And the answer is never, right? You look at giant lakes, right? The water's not sloshing from one side to the other because of the spin of the earth. They're perfectly calm and flat. We're not moving.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that got me. Another thing that got me was I started looking at Antarctica. I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck is Antarctica then? Antarctica is supposedly this continent at the bottom of a ball. But then I realized nobody has ever gone from like Santiago to Australia. That's a straight line. The route that they take from Santiago to Australia is insane. They go all the way up to the northern hemisphere, all the way across, and all the way back down, which makes absolutely no sense on a globe, but it makes perfect sense on a flat earth.
Yeah, so, it is weird. Yeah. I like the graphics you have here. They're very good. Yeah.
Thank you. Looking into the flat earth, it's like, okay, the flat earth is crazy, where you see images like this is not what the flat earth is,
Right.
right? This is not what the flat earth is. A flat earth, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye would be saying, what are we, we're the only disk planet, or the all disks, right? So this is basically mind control to make you not look at it. This is dumb. I'm not going to look into flat earth. And it works. A lot of people will look at that, but again, that's not what flat earth is. Flat earth is like a pond. Think about what a pond is. A pond is the low spot in the land where water accumulates.
Mm-hmm.
And then the edge of the pond is where the land is higher than the water, right? So think of the world oceans as a giant pond, right? You have islands, we'll call them continents. They're all surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by land. This land is called Antarctica, and it's the highest land on Earth. It's the perimeter it's the container of our pond. Like, you can't take a bath without a bathtub. If you don't have the tub, the water is not going to be contained.
Yeah.
So this is the container. Antarctica is bigger than all of the continents and all of the oceans combined. It's not a little ball, island at the bottom of a ball. And but what got me was this pink line here. This pink line is a 60 degrees south parallel. And there's a treaty that says nobody is allowed to explore beyond that line until the year 2041. No one, no corporation, no nothing. And to actually do it, to apply to do it, it'll cost you between $200,000 and $2 million. It'll take you a year of red tape before they say nope, and then they keep your money. Okay, that's strange. For the people that are just hearing about this for the first time, you're probably at the point like, this is crazy. What does it matter, right? I was there for a long time. But one thing we all agree on and can prove is that we don't live on a spinning water ball flying through an infinite vacuum. That's provable.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't live on a spinning ball flying through a heliocentric, space vacuum. And that's scientifically provable. I know that all space agencies are lying about every single thing. I know that all of our history is a lie. Mm-hmm. Have you seen my interview with Ruth, the 102-year-old woman?
No, but I heard you talking about it. So I did listen to my friends Nish and Jerry interview you a few weeks ago, and I heard you talking about her. I've seen it in your feed, but that is fascinating what you were saying. So go ahead and tell us about Ruth.
Yeah, so Ruth, I was talking to her about the World's Fairs that she had been to as a child in Connecticut or New York, and her memory was so good that I asked her what they taught her in elementary school about the Earth, and she said they taught me the Earth was flat. And literally, she had like this meltdown when I told her it was flat, and I explained it to her. It was an amazing conversation. So we found other people from other countries had said in the 1930s, everyone knew the Earth was flat. We found newspaper articles, all sorts of stuff, saying the teachers were being persecuted and threatened with jail for trying to teach heliocentrism. So the entire thing about our, we've known for 500 years or 2,000 years, nonsense. It's all bullshit.
Go ahead.
Now, I think that there is an underworld and there's a heavenly world above us. I think we're literally in a layer cake. There's a non-physical realm above us and another physical realm below us. That's my belief. Can I prove it? Well, there's lots of underground cities that are being found and stuff. And that could just be stuff that was buried in a mud flood. But the deepest hole ever dug is the Great Borehole, and that only goes down 7.5 miles. So we don't know what's below that. So there could be a whole nother realm down there. I have there's no way to prove it because there's 3 places we can't go: below 7.5 miles, beyond the shoreline of Antarctica, or above the 8 miles above us, right?
Yeah.
This is the Great Borehole, 7.5 miles, right? That's like going through halfway through the skin of an apple. Okay. And while they were drilling through the skin of the apple, they were guessing what they were going to hit with their radar, ground penetrating radar, and they were wrong every step of the way, but somehow they know what's through the rest of the Earth. They couldn't even get this blue part right. Okay. It's ridiculous. You're familiar with the Go Fast rocket, right? The amateur rocket that went up and hit something. So it went into plasma. I don't know, that maybe it sounded like water, but it wasn't water because I think it would have destroyed the rocket at that speed. And then we could see the moon. So I think there is a physical barrier up there, but a lot of flat earthers think there's a physical barrier because you can't have high pressure next to a vacuum,
Mhm.
right? So there has to be a barrier. Well, they haven't really thought it through because we don't believe that there's a vacuum of space. So maybe there isn't a physical barrier,
Mhm.
right? If you're boiling a pot of water, you see the bubble on the bottom of the water. Well, imagine yourself inside that bubble. You're on a flat surface, you're in a
Mhm.
high pressure system with water above, and you have no physical barrier
Yeah.
other than water, right?
Yeah.
So, so again, if you look at like a hurricane, you ever been in a hurricane?
I haven't been in a hurricane.
So so during a massive storm, a hurricane, you have super low pressure. Maybe that low pressure is allowing the waters from above to come
Mhm.
in, and then the wind just sorts them out because you have like rivers of water coming out of the sky during a hurricane. So where's all that water coming from? Is it floating? Trillions of pounds of water floating in clouds? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Clouds are water. I have a whole nother view on clouds, but I think we've only scratched the surface of what the Earth is, the
Mhm.
flat surface, of course. So it is flat, but there's more to it. What's underneath? What's powering it? What are all of the stars? What are the planets? How do they affect us? Astrology is the real science. Astronomy is the pseudoscience.
Yes.
Here's the star Arcturus, right? Our consumer optics have outgrown their lies. So we zoom in. This is what NASA shows us.
No.
I mean, look at this. This is sentient in nature. What
Yep.
is it? It's close, it's small, and it affects our lives every day. Here's the star Capella. I love Capella. It's
Mhm.
colorful. Slow it down. It's got geometric,
Mhm.
sacred geometry shapes
Yep.
in it. It's amazing. Here's Sirius, slowed down. All right. They're all different. They're all amazing. And what are they? I don't know. They're above our heads. They're here.
Yeah.
And how could the Mars being in retrograde affect my life? What difference does it make? It's millions of miles away. It's a rock in space. It's not. It's
No.
here. It's
Yeah.
energetic. You know,
Yeah.
it it affects us on ways that we don't even have words for. It doesn't matter whether they're out of focus or not. This is crazy stuff that's going on. These
Mhm.
look like they're in liquid to me. Like
Yeah.
they're, you know, but look how they react differently, right? Some of them are more fluid.
Mhm.
It's insane.
It's like bioluminescence in like a viscous ocean above us that has,
Yes.
right? Like, I mean, it is like, it's fascinating. And
Doesn't
Mhm.
matter where it
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter where it is because it ain't over there on a spinning ball flying through space, right? The
It's
spinning ball flying in space is a prison for your mind. And it is the most important topic. Now, there are people that are here that are not meant to wake up, and you can pretty quickly identify those NPCs and walk away from them. But there's plenty of people. There's tens of thousands of people now that have said, "Hey, Dave, thanks for spelling it out the way you did. I see it now." And literally their lives are changed. I get letters every day. I get emails, I get messages, always people saying that their lives have totally changed because they woke up to the truth. There's a there's a verse in the Bible, and I'm not the Bible guy, that basically says, once you see my creation, you can no longer have any excuse for denying my existence.
Mhm.
Right? So seeing the flat earth
Yeah.
uh makes you have to realize there's a creator. Not seeing it is the main reason for the deception, in my opinion. They want us not understanding that there is a creator. They want us lost in space, spinning out of control, powerless, and in fear, right? Because then we're controllable, right? There's more land. There's more, there could be more land beyond Antarctica. There could be whole other worlds out there. Maybe it's a dome system like this, and there's other oceans, right? Here's the top town view, right? Maybe there's all these extraterrestrial lands.
Right.
That's where extraterrestrials come from,
Yeah.
right? Maybe it's just an endless ice plane. I don't know. I can't go there. It's off limits,
Yeah.
right? We need to take back our power, right? And have free reign over this world. And people need to not live in fear. And when you have a world not living in fear, knowing that, we're not going to be hit by an asteroid because asteroids don't exist.
Yeah.
We're not going to be We're not going to have global warming because there's no man-made global warming. Yes, we're polluting is bad. We're not going to run out of food because we live in a world where you can take a seed that's been in your garage for 50 years, stick it in the dirt, water will fall out of the sky, which is the most amazing thing ever, and then food will grow. Okay, there's no food shortage, right? There's no water shortage. There's the same amount of water that there's always been.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's more water than they're telling us about. In California, you're not allowed to drill a well beyond 300 feet because if you do, you're going to hit primary water and you're going to have the best, most nutritious water ever and unlimited amounts of it. They don't want you knowing that, right?
Yeah.
It goes on and on. They want us living in fear and being, nihilistic and selfish. And that's the way it is. I'm just having the hiccups.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The issue about the creator that, I was like raised in a family without religion. And I remember I had the moment where I moved from atheist to not atheist, right? Like where it was, there's something like plain and simple about being an atheist. Like nothing happens, nothing matters. This is all just random and whatnot. And when I had that moment of clarity that there was something bigger at play here and that, I am part of that, that actually is like really where the mystery begins and people can start to sort of chart their own path through that. And it's not controllable. And I agree with you that like this seems to be, a plank, like an issue, the earth being flat implies what you're talking about, implies that this is a created system, and it's not a system that the powers that want us to think they be created, right? And so it's outside of their paradigm, and everything that we see and experience, all of these lies and all of this chaos we're going through right now, is a machination of trying to control that, right? Like it makes, what do you think about the whole, like, this idea that we're sort of in cycles, right? Like that there's, maybe a 400 years, like the FPV do this like 400-year cycle. Some people say 200. Obviously, we've heard 26,000-year cycle.
Right? I'm a fan of the 200-year cycle. I think that there was a reset. I think there was a reset in the 1800s. Maybe not even, I'm not sure exactly when, but, it looked like in the early 1900s, we were just coming out of it. You look at the buildings that were built, they were supposedly built in the 1800s. We couldn't build those buildings today, but they had horses and buggies back then. And they were building these, look at Angkor Wat. Have you ever looked into Angkor Wat?
I love it. Yeah, it's so psychedelic. It's amazing.
And that's just, there's so many things like that. There was a worldwide civilization, called Tataria, right? Mm-hmm. Not that long ago, mm-hmm. with airships bigger than aircraft carriers flying around the world. But they've taken that away from us because with an aircraft, with an airship, we could go explore where they don't want us exploring because you don't need extra fuel, right? You just need like a solar panel and a fan, basically. So they demonized that. I mean, they've literally put us in a cage, mm-hmm. put us in fear. They've taken away our right to travel. Right? They've taken away our right to travel over Antarctica. Now they're taking away our right to travel out of the country. Soon they're going to take away our right to travel within the country. Okay. Right. And people are just allowing it. People are just allowing this nonsense to happen because their mind is controlled with cartoons. So real quick, this can take about 2 minutes, right? This is the flat earth. So let me I'll make it so it's not so confusing. I'm going to pick a different background. Okay. What it is, the sky is a perfect clock. These are just different decorative backgrounds, but I like this background because it kind of gives you a better idea. So everything outside that circle is Antarctica. The sun is the hour hand of the clock. It goes around once every 24 hours. Okay. So the sun keeps track of the hours and the days. And then it's, as you see, it's gaining distance on the moon. It'll lap the moon once every 28 or 29 days. So the phase and position of the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. Used to be called moons, right? Slow that down. I'll turn on the zodiac. So all of the stars, all of the zodiacs, the 12 zodiacs, they're spinning slightly faster than the sun. And that way the zodiac that's before the sun will catch up to it each month. So next month, the sun will be in Pisces. and then the next month, the next constellation will catch up. So the stars keep track of the seasons
Mhm.
and the years, right? If I turn on the time zones, wherever the sun is, it's noon.
Mhm.
So if I stop it right now, it's 5 a.m. in Eastern Australia. It's 9 p.m. in Central Africa. And it's almost noon on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
We're getting about an hour. You're an hour from noon. So the compass is the center of the flat Earth, right? The north is the center. East and west are circles around the center. So if you want to circumnavigate, you could leave New York heading east. Well, you got to remember, you're holding a compass. That compass always has to point towards the north. So you have to keep correcting to the left. And you're going to make a big circle. You're going to end up in California and back in New York. And you're going to think you went around a globe, but you didn't. You just sailed around the lake, right? And what you can't do on a flat Earth is you can't go south from Santiago and pop up over in Australia, but nobody's ever done it. And that's because the Earth is flat, because you can't do it,
Right.
right? So if you watch the sun, the sun migrates in between those two yellow lines. The inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. And in June, the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer. So the inner north is having its summer because the sun is over our heads. It's higher in the sky. Imagine two airplanes flying at 10,000 feet. One of them is directly over your head, and one of them is 50 miles to the south, same height, paralleling it. The one over your head is your summer sun. Okay. The one out south is lower in the sky because it's your winter sun. It's farther away. So if I move the sun 6 months, it'll migrate out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and it's over the outer southern lands, and they're having their summer. It goes right over Australia. So on December 21st is the height of their summer.
Mhm.
And it's our winter because it's that airplane that's farther away. It's lower in the sky. It's very simple how the seasons work on a flat Earth. Makes no sense on a ball Earth. And right now, the sun is moving in towards the Tropic of Cancer. Right now, it's March 21st. It'll be over that red line, which is the equator. And that's how seasons work. It's very simple. And I give people a challenge. You know what a Bitcoin is, right? You know what
Well,
Bitcoin is?
I think I know what a Bitcoin is, but I'm never sure I quite understand what a Bitcoin is. Yes, I
That's
do.
fine. Bitcoin's almost $50,000. I'm offering a Bitcoin for anybody that can give me one proof of the globe. And all I say is every day there's a new video that shows up here, short ones during the week, long ones on the weekend. Watch it for 2 weeks. And then if you can come up with one proof of the globe, you can send it to me. And if you have one proof of the globe is all I need, and you get a Bitcoin. But before you do, you have to hit the question mark, and up come all of the questions you're going to ask. Like, hey, why the lie? Or why ships over the horizon? Or what about ships over the horizon? Or what
Mhm.
about circumnavigation, which we just talked about? But if I hit like ships over the horizon, up come videos that YouTube won't show you, right? These are videos that'll
Yeah.
be hidden. And so this brings you to all of the information that YouTube doesn't want you to know.
Yeah.
If you hit the little star, the snowflake, the web, up come all these other links, mud floods on the bottom right, which we were talking about, biblical flat earth stuff,